Strategic Management, Presentation Number 2, Amazon. Presented by Vichra Vorn, David Valenzuela, Tran, K. Baker, and Mariah Cano.
Amazon's business level strategy is primarily cost leadership. According to Lecture 4, business level strategy answers the question, how will we compete to gain and sustain competitive advantage? Amazon competes by keeping costs low while still offering acceptable value to customers. Rather than positioning itself as a premier retailer, the company competes directly in a highly competitive retail industry by focusing on price, convenience, and efficiency. A major source of Amazon's competitive advantage comes from scale. Its massive global transaction volume allows the company to spread fixed costs over millions of orders, reducing per unit costs. Advanced fulfillment centers, automation, and robotics improve operational efficiency, while data-driven inventory management and demand forecasting reduce waste and optimize logistics. Additionally, Amazon's marketplace model lowers capital intensity because third-party sellers carry much of the inventory risk. This further strengthens Amazon's cost structure. However, this strategy requires important trade-offs. Amazon operates on a thin retail margins and reinvests heavily into infrastructure and technology. The company accepts a high fixed cost structure that depends on maintaining large transaction volume. Instead of maximizing short-term profits, Amazon prioritizes long-term scale and sustained competitive dominance. Overall, Amazon gains and sustains competitive advantage by reducing costs more effectively than competitors while maintaining acceptable customer value. Amazon's cost leadership strategy is supported directly by the 4 cost drivers discussed in Lecture 4. These drivers explain how Amazon is able to lower its cost structure relative to competitors while maintaining acceptable customer value. First, the cost input factor. Because of Amazon's massive scale, it has significant bargaining power over suppliers. Vendors rely heavily on Amazon's platform for sales volume, which gives Amazon leverage in negotiations. Additionally, Amazon's private label brands, such as Amazon Basics, allow the company to control production costs and capture higher margins. Another important factor is its marketplace model. Instead of purchasing and storing all inventory itself, Amazon allows third-party sellers to use its platform. This reduces Amazon's capital intensity and shifts much of the inventory risk to sellers, lowering overall cost exposure. Secondly, efficiency and economies of scale are central to Amazon's advantage. Amazon processes millions of transactions daily across global markets. This high output allows the company to spread fixed costs, such as fulfillment centers, technology infrastructures, and data systems, across a massive volume of orders. As production and order volume increases, per unit costs decline. Automation within fulfillment centers, including robotics and AI-supported systems, further improves efficiency and reduces labor costs. This scale-based efficiency is extremely difficult for smaller competitors to replicate. Third, learning curve effects contribute to cost savings over time. As Amazon repeatedly performs fulfillment, logistics routing, and warehouse operation, it becomes faster and more accurate. Employees, systems, and algorithms continuously improve through repetition. This learning by doing reduces errors, shortens delivery times, and lowers operational costs. Finally, experience curve effects extend beyond individual tasks to organization-wide improvements. Amazon invests heavily in technology, artificial intelligence, demand forecasting, and vertical integration into its own delivery network. These broader system-wide innovations reduce long-term costs across multiple functions, not just labor, For example, predictive analytics reduce excessive inventory, and owning parts of its logistics network reduces dependency on third-party carriers. Together, these four cost drivers create a sustainable cost advantage. Amazon is not just competing on price randomly, it has built structural efficiencies that allow it to reduce costs, or C, more efficiently than competitors. That sustained cost advantage reinforces its overall cost leadership strategy and strengthens its competitive position in a highly competitive retail industry.
Amazon's company trade-offs. Amazon does not rely on a single competitive approach. Instead, it blends differentiation, cost leadership, and blue ocean strategy into a hybrid model that strengthens its position against Porter's five forces. Its differentiation is driven by a customer-obsessed culture, prime infrastructure and subscriptions, bundled digital services, and continuous technology innovation through automation and AI and fast shipping. At the same time, Amazon maintains cost leadership through highly automated fulfillment centers, advanced logistics systems, economies of scale, and cross-subsidization from AWS profits, which allow it to sustain low prices and create high barriers to entry. Through its everything store concept and multifaceted platform model, Amazon has expanded beyond traditional retail into cloud computing, digital media, and other industries, effectively creating new market space consistent with Blue Ocean strategy principles. By successfully executing both cost efficiency and differentiation simultaneously, Amazon makes it extremely difficult for competitors to replicate its fulfillment network, prime ecosystem, and technological infrastructure. However, while its global reach strengthens its dominance, it is also increasing its exposure to regulatory scrutiny, thin retail margins, and operational complexity. Amazon defends itself against Porter's five forces through its advanced logistics network, strong brand recognition, like who doesn't know Amazon as a brand, massive infrastructure, and significant bargaining power over suppliers and marketplace sellers. Its scale and prime ecosystem reduce the threat of substitution by increasing convenience and customer loyalty, while high capital requirements and technological complexity limit new entrants. However, these same strengths create strategic trade-offs. Amazon's continuous expansion into multiple industries increases operational complexity and regulatory exposure, and its heavy dependence on prime infrastructure makes customer retention critical to maintaining competitive advantage. Additionally, global supply chain exposure increases vulnerability to disruptions and geopolitical risk. Ultimately, Amazon trades simplicity and margin stability for scale, ecosystem dominance, and long-term competitive insulation, accepting higher exposure in exchange for sustained market power. Amazon's competitive industry structure. Amazon operates primarily within an oligopolistic industry structure in both global e-commerce and cloud computing, where a small number of dominant firms compete in markets defined by high barriers to entry, economies of scale, and strong interdependence. With the rivalry being so intense, competitors closely monitor each other's pricing, innovation, and expansion decisions. Amazon must continuously reinvest in logistics to strengthen its fulfillment network, expand its Prime ecosystem to deepen customer loyalty, and aggressively grow AWS to maintain technological and financial leadership. The capital intensity and infrastructure complexity of these industries limit new entrants, reinforcing Amazon's position while also requiring constant innovation to stay ahead. Although oligopolies discourage destructive price wars, they demand ongoing differentiation and strategic expansion into adjacent markets. With this, Amazon emphasizes long-term scale advantages, platform integration, and ecosystem dominance rather than short-term profit maximization, positioning itself for sustained competitive power across interconnected markets.
Amazon targets consumer segment. Amazon operates across 5 consumer segments. First, there are B2C consumer, the everyday people buying products on Amazon.com. This is the segment most people think of, and it's form a foundation of everything else Amazon does. Second, Amazon serves business consumer through B2B channels. Amazon Business provide company with tools, book pricing, and tax exempt features, making it seriously player in the business supplies space and not just consumer retail. Third-party sellers are a critical segment. Over 60% of items sold on Amazon actually come from independent sellers. Amazon provides platform and in return its earned fees and data. Developers and enterprise are served as AWS. These are tech term startup with and 500 companies that uses Amazon. Content consumers, people who subscribe to Prime Video, Kindle, Audible, and Amazon Music. This segments drive engagement and reduce churn from the Prime ecosystem. Industry life cycle. Where does Amazon stand? Starting with e-commerce and online retail. This is Amazon original business and it's firmly in the mature state. Cloud computing through AWS is in the growth stage. Digital advertising is also in the growth state and it is become one of the Amazon most profitable businesses. Streaming and digital content, Prime Video, Amazon Music is in the competitive growth stage. Amazon is not in the leader here, but it uses content strategically to retain Prime subscription and reduce. Physically retail through Whole Foods is still an experimental stage of Amazon. Amazon's strategic implications. The first, for mature businesses like e-commerce, Amazon's strategy is not about innovation in the model itself, but it's about protect market shares and driving operational efficiency. It's mean faster delivery, lower costs, and deeper primes lock-in. The design has won. Now the goal is to make it as hard as possible for competitor to catch up. Second, for growth stage business like AWS and digital advertising, Amazon's strategy is to invest aggressively and scale as fast as possible. These are high margin business and with significant market opportunities still ahead. Third, for business like streaming and Whole Food, Amazon's strategy is to integrate them into broader ecosystem and extract value from the fly. Strategies impact of Amazon dominant products design. The framework. The first is the few phase. This is when an industry is new. There are many competing design and no one has figured out the winning formula yet. Experimentation dominance and companies are still trying to figure out what customer actually want. The transition phase. This is when one design starts to emerge as the standard competing begins and to the shift away from what design win to who can execute the design best. And the third is the specific phase. The design is now locked in. Everyone knows what the product is supposed to look like. Companies compete on price, scale, and efficiency rather than innovation in the design itself. E-commerce, Amazon sets the dominant design. Think about what online shopping looks like today. Search bar, customers review, one-click purchasing, fast delivery. That's Amazon template. And proof that Amazon owns this design in the facts that competitor like Walmart and Target haven't tried and invent something different. They have simply adopt Amazon models. AWS. In 2026, Amazon launched AWS and essentially invented the infrastructure as a services model, pay per use, API driven cloud computing. No one had done this scale before. By 2010 and 2011, Microsoft and Google Cloud entered the market. Fast forward to today, 2024 and beyond, the design is locked in. AWS hold roughly 31% to the global cloud markets, and competitors are trying to catch up on Amazon's term. Alexa's Amazon launched the Echo in 2014. That was clear the first move were in smart speakers. For a moment, it looks like Alexa might set the standard the way Amazon.com did for e-commerce, but that hasn't happened yet. Alexa is competing with Google Assistant, Apple Series, and now large language model like ChatGPT.
When we talk about complementary products, we are referring to products or services that increase the value of a company's core offering. For Amazon, complementaries are not just additional revenue streams. They are a central part of how the company strengthens its entire ecosystem and competitive position. Prime membership is one of the clearest examples. Prime extends for beyond fast shipping and includes streaming, exclusive deals, and digital services that add convenience and entertainment value. When customers subscribe, they are not just paying for delivery benefits. They are becoming part of a broader system. As customers use more Prime services, the reliance on Amazon increases, and switching to another platform becomes less attractive. That deepens loyalty and increases long-term customer retention. AWS plays a complementary role in a different way. It provides cloud infrastructure to thousands of businesses, including sellers who operate within Amazon's marketplace. By powering other companies' digital operations, Amazon strengthens its influence across industries while generating high-margin revenue. This creates strong network effects because the more businesses depend on AWS, the more integrated Amazon becomes within the broader economy. Devices like Alexa and Echo also reinforce the ecosystem. They make purchasing more convenient and embedded in everyday life, which increases engagement and reinforces brand loyalty. When we look at how all these complementaries interact, you can see that they do more than add revenue individually. They increase switching costs, strengthen network effects, and make the ecosystem more valuable as it grows. That interconnected system is what gives Amazon strategic durability. When we evaluate Amazon's approach to innovation, it clearly reflects elements of both Schumpeter's and Kerzner's perspectives on entrepreneurship. Schumpeter's focuses on creative destruction, where firms introduce major innovations that disrupt industries and fundamentally change competition. Amazon has done this multiple times. For example, when the company launched AWS, it shifted the way businesses access computing infrastructure. Instead of building their own expensive data centers, companies could rent scalable cloud services on demand. That move reshaped the cloud industry and forced established technology firms to adjust their strategies. Another strong example is Prime. Before Prime, fast shipping was considered an added benefit. Amazon transformed it into a standard expectation. Competitors were then pressured to match those delivery speeds, which increased costs across the retail industry and changed how companies compete. That is a clear case of creative destruction because it's altered both customer expectations and industry dynamics. At the same time, Amazon reflects Kerzner's perspective. which emphasizes recognizing opportunities and making continuous improvements. For example, Amazon constantly refines its recommendation algorithms to better predict customer behavior. It also optimizes warehouse operations and delivery routes to reduce costs and improve speed. These improvements may not seem dramatic on their own, but over time they significantly strengthen efficiency and profitability. What makes Amazon strategically unique is its ability to combine both approaches. It is willing to introduce disruptive innovations when it sees an opportunity, but it also commits to ongoing refinements that strengthen its internal systems. That balance allows Amazon to reshape industries while maintaining operational excellence. This blend of disruption and continuous improvement explains how Amazon sustains innovation even at massive scale.
I'm going to explain the advantages and the disadvantage of going global and how they impact Amazon. Starting with the advantages, the biggest benefit for Amazon is access to larger markets. By operating in North America, Europe, Asia, and other regions, Amazon dramatically increasing its customer base and revenue potential. This supports higher sales volume and stronger growth opportunities. Second, Amazon benefit from economy of scale. Their global logistics network and AWS cloud infrastructure allow them to spread fixed costs over a large volume of customers. This lower per unit costs and strengthen their competitive position. Another advantage is access to lower cost supply and labor. By sourcing globally and operating fulfillment centers in different countries, Amazon can reduce input costs and improve efficiency. Also, because Amazon operates across time zones, it can run parts of its business 24/7. This improves responsiveness and allows continuous operation, especially for AWS and customer services. Finally, global expansion diversities revenue streams. If one market slows down, performance in another region can offset that risk. However, there are disadvantages. One major risk is the liability for foreigners. Amazon must deal with cultural differences, unfamiliar regulations, and political environments in each country. There is also regulatory and antitrust pressure, especially in European Union and India. Governments closely monitor large tech firms, which can limit expansion or increase compliance costs. Currency fluctuations also impact profitability since revenue is earned in multiple currency. Overall, while going global increased Amazon's scale and efficiency, it also exposed the company to significant regulatory, competitive, and political risks. Now, building on that, we can look at the country-specific environment attribute that impact Amazon's strategy. These come from Lecture A and help explain why Amazon performs differently across countries. The first factor is factor endowments, which refer to a country resource like labor, infrastructure, and capital. For example, the United States and India provide Amazon with highly skilled tech labor, which supports innovation and AWS development. Strong logistic infrastructure in developing markets also allow Amazon to deliver quickly and efficiently. The second factor is local demand conditions. In the US and Europe, customers expect fast delivery and convenience, which push Amazon to invest heavily in fulfillment speed. In countries like India, customers are more mobile focused and price sensitive, which force Amazon to adapt its platform and pricing strategy. The third factor is related and supporting industry. In the US, Amazon benefit from strong technology ecosystem, cloud infrastructure, and digital payment system. These supporting industry make it easier for Amazon to scale and operating efficiently. The fourth factor is intensity of rivalry. In China, Amazon struggles because Alibaba dominates the market. In India, Flipkart is strong competitor. The rivalry influences Amazon pricing, marketing, and expansion decision. So overall, global strategy is heavily shaped by the specific economic and competitive and technological condition of each country. Now that we discussed the advantages and risk of going global and the country specific factors that influence Amazon, we can identify which global strategy Amazon is using. According to Lecture A, there are four main global strategies: global standardization, international, localization, and transactional. Each one depends on the level of pressure for cost reduction and the level of pressure for local responsiveness. Amazon primarily follows a transactional strategy. A transactional strategy is using when a company faces high pressure for cost reduction and high pressure for local responsiveness at the same time. First, let's look at the cost pressure. Amazon operates in highly competitive industry with thin margins, especially in e-commerce. To stay competitive, Amazon must keep costs low. That is why they standardized their global logistics system, warehouse technology, AI algorithm, and AWS infrastructure. These systems are centralized and globally integrated to maximize efficiency and economic of scale. However, Amazon also faces strong pressure for local responsiveness. Every country has different regulations, tax policies, consumer behavior, language preference, and payment systems. For example, data privacy law in the European Union require different compliance standard compared to the United States. In India, Amazon must compete with local firms and adjust pricing and seller strategy accordingly. Because of these differences, Amazon cannot operate with a pure global standardization strategy. It must adapt to each local market while still maintaining its global efficiency. So, what Amazon does is keeping its core infrastructure and technology standardized globally, but adapts certain aspects of marketplace sellers, marketing strategies, and compliance policy to fit local conditions. This balance between global integration and local adaptations is what defines a transactional strategy. Overall, Amazon's ability to manage both efficiency and flexibility at the same time strengthens its long-term competitive advantage in global markets.
When Amazon expands into foreign markets, its strategy reflects a strong preference for control and long term positioning. In major markets, the company often establishes wholly owned subsidiaries. This allows Amazon to maintain control over branding, logistics systems, technology infrastructure, and service standards, which are central to its competitive advantage. In more complex environments, Amazon has also relied on acquisitions and strategic partnerships to strengthen its position. For example, in India, Amazon faced intense competition from domestic firms and strict regulatory conditions related to foreign ownership and marketplace operations. Instead of simply duplicating its US model, the company adapted its approach by forming partnerships, investing heavily in local logistics infrastructure, and adjusting its marketplace structure to comply with regulations. That flexibility helped Amazon remain competitive in a challenging market. The reason Amazon prioritizes these entry modes comes down to protecting its core strengths. Its advantage depends heavily on operational efficiency, data systems, and service consistency. By maintaining strong oversight or ownership, the company ensures that those systems remain aligned with its global standards. Operating internationally also provides benefits such as economies of scale, access to new customer segments, and diversified revenue streams. At the same time, Amazon must navigate country specific regulations, tax structures, and political risks that influence performance in each region. Its approach to global expansion reflects a deliberate balance between maintaining control and adapting to local conditions, allowing Amazon to scale internationally while preserving the infrastructure that drives its competitive strength.